So I just got done watching the new Arrow Video 4K of 2003's The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And we're obviously going to talk about the disc and the special features and all this. I'm going to give my review and my take on that. But I also wanted to talk about and have like a conversation about like the legacy of this film. So if you want to just have a conversation about that and sit and hang out, let's just chat. This is the first one I saw in theaters. This is the first one I watched in the entire franchise. And it got me interested to kind of go back and check out all the other movies. You know, I'd always heard growing up about the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you know, especially somebody from Texas. And so this movie kind of got me to get interested into the genre. So I have like a lot of nostalgia for this movie. And so when I was rewatching it and when I was, you know, when I put in the 4K, I was like, okay, I want to kind of see if there's something still there or if it's just a nostalgic viewing, because I haven't revisited this in a few years. And I can say, man, this movie is really good. I mean, this movie is really good. I think that you know, we're going to get to the actual 4K and the picture quality and all that stuff. But it's really, just from a movie perspective, I think that this is one of the stronger entries in the franchise. Now, when you think about legacies of movies and you think about how important physical media is to that, I just think that when you get a release like this, and I call this just almost an essential release in terms of Arrow Video's catalog, because this is definitely for a generation of fans their favorite Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. And I'm not just saying that for nostalgia purposes. I'm saying this for quality. I'm not saying that they're going to say that it's better than the original, but they have the memories of seeing this being their first introduction to the franchise, like myself. So just like with the original, how it had a big fan base, I think this one has a big fan base as well. And I think it's a great thing to have a great 4K home video release that looks this good, that keeps the quality and keeps the legacy alive for a movie like this. You know, we see it all the time with the original, the sequels, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. We see it with all of them. And this franchise is definitely in an interesting position where I think we're about to start seeing like a lot of things from Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So I think revisiting the franchise, which I've been doing lately, which I'll be doing a rankings of the entire franchise. So if you're excited to see that, please let me know right now in the comments if you're excited to see or if you'd be interested in seeing a Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise rankings. I definitely want to hear from you. But I just wanted to talk today about the legacy of this movie, because I feel like a lot of times now, if a movie gets announced that's a reboot or a remake, and I'll be telling you honestly, like for me, I get irritated. I'm like, man, I want to see like more original horror movies and more. The more that I kind of revisit some of the ones from when I was growing up of movies that kind of came out that introduced me to a franchise, I would prefer if it wasn't a remake, but I understand a little bit about the business side of it, trying to introduce people into the franchise, and now they become fans of that original as well. You know, it's not like they just decided to do like a sequel or something. This is truly like a remake of the original movie. And so there's that dynamic there of like, okay, you know, what's the point of it? You know what I'm saying? You know, but I think that there's like a good and a bad to like all these remakes. You know, sometimes it does introduce a new generation to the franchise. And I know a lot of people would say like, well, just point them in the direction of the new movie. But sometimes just having a new theatrical movie that keeps the IP fresh. And, you know, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is kind of getting this new like breath of fresh air. You know, we have the stories about A24, you know, picking up the rights or very close to picking up the rights to the new, you know, to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise, not only from television, but for also movies. And so I think that Texas Chainsaw Massacre is in a very interesting spot right here as an IP. And I feel like we could be getting some really good stuff for this franchise, which a lot of people say like, man, they just keep rehashing the same things over and over. And so cutting back to the 2003 remake, there was a lot of that talk of like, what's the point of this movie? You know, what's the point of this movie coming out? Yeah, you could say it's to get a new generation of fans to the franchise, but what's really the point of it? And that's when the special features kind of kicked in for me. And when you watch this movie and you check out the special features on this disc, I highly encourage you. First off, if you haven't watched this movie in a while, I highly encourage you to watch it again, because it's not just nostalgia that you remember. This is a really well-directed movie. This is a really good... this movie looks really good. And the 2000s were trying to do this thing where they took a lot of color out of the movie. So like a lot of the movies had this color grading that was kind of grayish, silverish. You kind of know the vibe if you've seen a lot of movies from that time. But this movie looks great and it really fits this movie. And there's enough different here to where you really don't even compare it as much to the original as you would think you would. And as somebody who's, like I said, who watched the original later in life and really got caught up with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise because of this theatrical experience, I could say that this movie really holds up and it's really good. And I do think that not having the technology in it, this movie actually being taken place in the 70s, was a huge plus, because we don't have the integration into like trying to explain why they have cell phones now. So I think it really worked for this movie. And I don't know if it would have worked if there would have been cell phones and all that stuff. So I think them placing this movie back in the 70s was a good thing. And the reason I bring that up is because one of the special features here, and it's arguably the best special feature on here. Obviously, you have the Marcus Nispel. There's about a 10-minute interview with Marcus Nispel here talking about why he decided to get on the movie. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But one of the highlights of this entire thing was with the cinematographer, Daniel Pearl. And if you remember Daniel Pearl, you know that he was the cinematographer on the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So there's a great interview with him in there. And you could just tell how much passion he has for the project, how much passion he has. And he worked with Marcus Nispel. They did a lot of stuff with like music videos. And Daniel Pearl really helped with a lot of Michael Bay. Michael Bay was doing stuff with music videos. So they really got their start in the music videos with working with Daniel Pearl. And they said, hey man, like, would you be interested in basically, being the cinematographer for this new movie? And I won't give it away because I want you to check out the special feature, but just that whole story of him talking about how he boarded the project, how he decided on what lighting to use, what color grading to use. If you're somebody who loves special features and really likes to get into the behind the scenes and the making of movies, you're really going to love these special features, because there's a lot there. And that to me was the highlight of the special features. Now, full transparency, the only special feature I did not watch on this was the audio commentary, the new audio commentary. There's a new audio commentary here with the Dread Central co-founder Steve Uncle Creepy Barton and co-host of the Spooky Picture Show podcast, Chris McGibbon. So I did not listen to the audio commentary, but in terms of special features, not only do you have the one I just mentioned with the cinematographer, but you also have it with the director Marcus Nispel. Again, came from music videos, really wanted to kind of put that energy into the movie. He wanted to originally make it like really grimy and really like, he even said he wanted it to make it look like an exploitation film. And the cinematographer was like, no, I want to show people what I can do behind the camera. I've already done that with the original. Let me see what I can do in front of the camera. And I think that was probably the smartest decision that this movie made, is it kind of set the aesthetic not only for this movie being different from the original, but it also set up Platinum Dunes as a production company of like, oh, they're going to take on like some movies from the 70s and 80s horror movies, and they're going to kind of put a modern spin on it, but it's going to look really good and it's going to look really clean. And I think there was just enough of that griminess in the color grading to where it really looked like a Texas Chainsaw movie, but it felt like it was trying to be like this, as weird as this sounds, like kind of a sexier version of it. And they kind of talk about that, how they wanted to like appeal to that. And then there's a great, really heartfelt special feature on this disc, The Lost Leatherface, a brand new interview with actor Brett Wagner. So again, if you don't know Brett Wagner, he actually was hired to be Leatherface in this movie. And he decided to, he hit the gym or like wanted to get bulked up. And he actually does the first kill in the movie, and he goes into why he couldn't continue on the movie. I won't give it away because I don't want to give away the entire special feature in case you want to see it with fresh eyes. But if you don't know that story, injury happened, and he kind of discusses what happened and how he was replaced on the project and all this different stuff. So again, check it out, but it's a really great special feature, and it really just shows how big of a fan he was of the franchise. And I was just fascinated by that. So in terms of my review on the special features for this disc, I think it's great. There's like 5 brand new special features plus a new audio commentary, and that's the only one I didn't check out, so I don't have a review on the audio commentary. But great job with the special features. I thought they were really solid, and my highlight was definitely with the interview with the cinematographer Daniel Pearl. Now, in terms of the movie and in terms of the picture quality, this legacy of this movie is a lot about, we think about Jessica Biel. We think about Jessica Biel in the white tank top. We think about the jeans. We think like that's really what sold the movie. Like they really focused in on that. But what I really found was that, when you're looking at it like that, when you're a kid or you're a teenager and you're kind of going to watch these movies, what I really noticed revisiting it now is how great her performance is in this movie. I think she gives a great final girl performance. And the reason I use final girl is because she doesn't really feel like that throughout the course of the movie. It kind of feels like this they do a really good job of kind of making the group feel like this real lived in friend group, and I think they really captured that with the casting, is that all these characters felt like they belonged in that van together. You know, you didn't think like, man, are these like they don't really seem like friends. You know, there was that definite dynamic there where I felt like that was really well done. And Jessica Biel's character, I just think, man, she does a lot of physicality in this role. And when I rewatched it now, I was just amazed by how much physicality is in that role and how good she does. She's got, you know, she crushed it with the screaming and the stuff that you expect out of a horror movie. But even the smaller moments, the more intimate moments before things start going to hell, like she's really good in those early scenes as well. So again, there's good and bad with a lot of this stuff. But the real good stuff with this 4K is that it looks fantastic. It absolutely looks beautiful. It's the best version you can have on home video, in my opinion, from a picture standpoint. The audio I thought was solid, and the special features, the new special features on this disc, I thought were really good. And again, I'm a big special features guy, so I'm going to be really excited about that stuff. So if you're a big special features person, you love like the process and the filmmaking techniques and the behind the scenes stories of movies you love, this one has some really good special features worth your time. Over like an hour or so of special features, new special features on this disc. I haven't seen the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the beginning, on 4K yet. If you'd like to see that review and that story about that movie doesn't have quite the legacy of 2003's Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but if you want to see that video, I definitely will upload that as well. But I'm really excited to hear your thoughts about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise as a whole, and especially this 2003, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, produced by Platinum Dunes. And kind of let me know what you think about this movie, where you think this movie's legacy is at right now. I kind of want to get that conversation going just to see where people are at with how this movie has held up over time, and where people feel like what the fondness they feel for this particular entry in the franchise. So I'd love to hear from you. But definitely, if you haven't already, and I'm not sure, by the time you watch this video, the Arrow video 50% off sale at Barnes & Noble might be over. But if you can get this movie for that $25 to $30 price point, it's definitely a steal at that price, especially if you're a fan of this 2003 version. I highly recommend this for fans of this movie and for fans of the franchise. And I just think that this is a great release by Arrow Video. So definitely check it out, and let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you like the vibe of this channel, you like this type of conversations, definitely hit that subscribe button so we can have more of them. Catch you in the next one.